next tool, timing, is everything. You've heard this already in the brain modules, you've heard it in the mindset modules, you've heard it from me on social media, but this is one of the most important tools that you have. And I want to talk about how you can actually use this as a tool and not just as a paradigm to work with it. So just to review, if you haven't watched the brain whole module yet, you're not familiar with that yet. The concept here is that when we discipline, when our kid is in a receptive state, our parenting, our communication, our teaching, their learning is going to be far more effective and therefore far more efficient. We're going to have to go over the same things fewer times when we do those things at the right time. And so understanding that there are many times when it is not the time to correct, punish, employ consequences, to teach generally your kid. There are times when their brain is just not receptive to that. And doing it at that time not only is just kind of fruitless, it's not going to lead to any positive change in your relationship with your child or them, but it can even be harmful in that it kind of increases this sense of hostility and, they're mad at me, my parents are mad at me, whatever. So just understanding that timing, specifically when you discipline, when you are teaching your child something new, when you're working with your child on, new life skills, social skills, relationship skills, timing is so important. So what is the right time to do those things? When your kid is being logical, when they're playing, right after, if you've already watched some of these other tools, right after they've had a good amount of movement and connection with you, this is the time when you want to employ that discipline and that teaching. And what are the times when you don't? In the middle of the night? Never the right time. When your kid's super hungry, any of those, hungry, angry, lonely, tired, look at those HALT things that we talked about earlier, and I think that was in the mindset, or maybe it was in the brain section of the course. Hungry, angry, lonely, tired, never the right time. When your kid's in the midst of a tantrum, not the right time. When your kid is really sad about something, not the right time. These are the times when you're just emotionally connecting to them. You're not trying to do any teaching or correction. And this is going to fly in the face of a lot of what I would call, one of the fundamental myths of traditional parenting, which is that as soon as your kid does something that is problematic in any way, they hit, they talk back, they, are aggressive to you in any way, or just disrespectful to you in any way. These are the times when you have to snap into action. You have to lay down the law. You have to teach them a lesson and, correct that behavior, nip it in the bud. This is what I hear from parents all the time. I got to try to nip this behavior before it grows into something that's much more difficult. Actually, no, kids are animals, and all humans are animals, but kids are not like dogs. You don't have to correct their behavior while they're doing the action that you're trying to correct. In fact, like I said, it's far less effective to do that. You can totally return to something that your kid did an hour ago, even yesterday, even 2 days ago, 3 days ago, and reflect with them. Obviously, for younger kids, you want to do it more sooner than several hours, but they also de-escalate much more quickly. So you have a little bit more freedom there. But with a kid who's 5, 6, 7, 8 years old, you can totally revisit something days later and talk about, hey, so when you were mad the other day, you hit me, and that did not make me feel good. We don't hit in this family. We don't use, I don't hit you, you don't hit me. Whatever language you want to use around that, doing it at that time when they're integrated, when they're not feeling shame, when they're not in their feelings, when their brain is in a learning state where receptive, this is so effective. And this is why timing really is everything. Just use the discipline tactics, the communication tactics, use them at the right time. You're going to find that they're far, far more effective. If you're always trying to correct behaviors when your kid is in an unreceptive state, you're going to find yourself doing it a dozen times, 24 times, even 100 times to correct one problematic thing that your kid does when they get dysregulated. You do it when they're calm, when they're integrated, you're going to find that it takes, half as long or less, 10% of the number of times that you have to kind of go over the same things, because their brain is in a place where it can build those neural pathways, where it actually can kind of consciously go, I can see the relationship between my actions and the harm that they're causing someone else. Couldn't see that when I was in fight or flight. Couldn't see that when I was totally losing it and having a meltdown, but I can see this now, and I'm going to respond, and I'm going to, draw more new conclusions, better conclusions, build better neural pathways for more productive behaviors intentionally in that time. So how do you use this as a tool? Because tools are all about what we do in the moment, right? It's not all of them, but many of them are all about what we do in the moment. Tools, this as a tool gets to be something that you get to communicate with your partner during a moment when you see them going to a place where they're not going to be effective communicators or discipliners or teachers, right? When you see your partner, because by the way, this is going to be really hard for us. We can talk about this tool in a couple minutes and go, oh yeah, timing is everything. This is, better, easier said than done, right? Most of us in the moment when our kid's really disrespectful feel like, well, I gotta lay down the law right now. So it's going to be harder to do than you think. But when you are the one who's not triggered, this can become a phrase that you and your partner use together. If your partner's not watching these videos with you, please, reach out to me so that we can get them on board, so that they're watching these and they're collaborating with you, that your parenting styles are meshing. They don't have to agree with every single thing that we talk about here. Neither do you. But use this as a tool. So you see your partner start to go to this place. Well, that's it. They're going to do something. They're going to explode, whatever. All you have to do, you can use this phrase. I have lots of couples who do this. They just look at one another and go, hey, timing's everything. Timing is everything. And that can kind of cut through, sometimes, not always, but cut through that brain state of feeling triggered for that parent who's about to discipline at an ineffective time or at a time that's just not going to be fruitful. Can kind of cut through that, and they can hear that and they can go, oh, wait, hang on. I want to be effective with this. My goal here is not to punish my kid for doing this thing. My goal is to help my kid not do this thing again, or help them do it less. And timing is everything. So I'm going to, take a breath. I'm going to take a centering breath. That's another one of our tools if you haven't gotten to that one yet. Take a centering breath, pivot off, and wait. I'm just going to wait for a more effective time, because timing is everything. So that's the tool. Timing is everything. Just remember, when you're disciplining, do it at the right time. You're going to feel so much better about what you're doing. It's going to be so much more fruitful, and it's going to be so much more effective long term.